welcome to another episode of Forgotten Cemeteries, Pacific Northwest. But we're not in Oregon today. We're actually in Ohio at Powers Estate Cemetery, located in Youngstown, Ohio, Mahoning County. Alternative names of the cemetery, none that I can find. So let's go meet some of the local residents, though few, and hear their story. Alright, a little history behind this cemetery. As said, I did buy an Ohio cemetery guide. It has good information and it's well put together. Only item I didn't really like is there's no establishment here sometimes, but hey, you can't have everything. This particular cemetery is something special. 3 graves in total, but quite the history tied to the family last name, Powers. My best guess is on the earliest burial is 1857, and that's just primarily based on the final grave entry of infant Powers, who died during childbirth. She was never given a name from my understanding. This cemetery did fit our channel's theme. I read at one time it was sort of forgotten and overgrown, out of view, until 1997, where our local professor and his students restored it in addition to the memorial. That memorial head would be of Isaac and Leah Powers at their homestead, which was just in this area from my understanding. They appear to be 1797 arrivals into this area, so very old history here. So let's start off the first story here. Like I said, there's only 3 stories, but one of them is an infant. We talked about that. So the next one would be Isaac Powers, born in 1777 in Westmoreland County, PA. However, it wasn't a safe journey for Isaac's father, Abraham Powers. Abraham was born in New Jersey in 1743. However, in 1754, the Native Americans were like, "What are you doing here? Can you please leave and get out now?" So in 1758, Abraham moved to PA and moved a bit more west in 1773. And this is where Isaac's story begins, the individual who's buried here. His father, Abraham Powers, though, was a big deal. He helped start up the Methodist churches back in the day, and Isaac did help him. More specifically, there was a church founded in 1796 in the home of Abraham Powers called Old Stone Church. Isaac in his 20s hunted bears along the Mahoning River in 1795. Coincidentally, in 1795, the Battle of the Fallen Timbers was coming to a close in this particular area in Ohio, northwest Ohio area. Basically, this was the final conflict between the United States and the Northwestern Confederacy, a group of Native Americans making their last stand for their land in the area. Native Americans would sign a treaty with Mad Anthony, nicknamed for his fiery approach to battle. Sadly, the Native Americans would vacate this area and they would open up to settlers. It sounds like they didn't have a choice in the matter, of course. This would lead to Abraham Powers seeing an opportunity, and he originally wanted to go to Kentucky, I guess, but Ohio looked more intriguing to him for some reason. It's then when Abraham decides to settle in Beaverton County, PA, close to what we know as Youngstown in Ohio, right on the state border. So one night, a guy named John Young, a surveyor, hangs out at Abraham's home. He learns that Isaac hunts along the Mahoning River and hires him as a guide. So they team up and discover this small stream, thinking it must lead to something good. I mean, it's got to go somewhere. They follow it 2 miles, and then they discover this amazing waterfall. You know it today as Lanterman's Mill in North Creek Park. If we have time, I'll take a little video of that area for the Oregonian viewers. And yes, I know us Oregonians have Silver and Multnomah Falls that are huge, but in Ohio, got to showcase their little tiny waterfalls, their little baby waterfalls. Try not to make fun of them too much. From there, this is where Isaac claims his land and establishes himself in the area. Let's move on to Leah Powers. She was born in Washington County, PA in 1783. Couldn't find much, but she does end up in Poland, Ohio, which is only like 10 minutes from here, I believe. Her father, Jonathan, served in the Revolutionary War and Dunbar War. Leah had a twin sister and an older sister. All 3 apparently were known as 3 beautiful daughters in this area, so must have been good looking. Lucky Isaac, he marries Leah in 1802, and Isaac's father transfers a land title to him. In 1806, Isaac steps up his game and converts the log cabin to a brick house. It was known as the finest house in this area back then. At one time, there was an orchard here and a fancy kitchen garden, apparently huge as well. 1812 arrives, and Isaac served in the War of 1812, serving under Henry Hume's crew. Isaac then goes on to serve as state representative in Ohio. Appears coal was like discovered on his property, and he started shipping coal to Cleveland in 1844. Isaac would die in 1861 and Leah in 1864, so not far apart. However, reading up on the records, their sons would bear Civil War veterans, and I believe an article mentioned like 2 of them died serving in the Civil War in Nashville, Tennessee. The Powers also started up the Youngstown Rolling Mill and Youngstown Iron Company. Those ran for about 40 years from my readings. At Isaac's funeral, the Mahoning Rifles attended. Couldn't find much on them, most likely a county who joined the Ohio Infantry during the Civil War, but there was a whole group that attended his funeral and paid their respects. So though a single memorial stands in this long, quiet, gone settler estate, a lot of history behind just one stone. Alright, time for the tour. To get to this cemetery, I'll try to get fancy and put like a little parking spot on Google Maps and put it in the video. It's just like a little 1 to 2 space parking spots, and it's a very steep hike up a hill. I think it's like way down there. There are park benches you can hang out. It overlooks Interstate 680, so it might be a little loud. This probably would have been a good summer trip. It's a little cold out and rainy. Steps. And then it just opens up to this little mini cemetery with one headstone. There's Isaac and Leah. Looks like there used to be a little angel there. Looks like it got mangled somehow. Perhaps someone camped in here. Maybe a long time ago, I'm not sure. It sort of has an eerie feel to it, but not bad. But I hope you enjoyed this little cemetery visit. Not much, but some interesting story tied behind it in the very beginnings of Youngstown and Lanterman's Mill. I will try to go to the waterfall, showcase that a little bit, because it is pretty cool. I remember growing up as a teenager and going there a lot, going on dates. Memories long gone. Anywho, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the Ohio Cemetery, and have a good one. Stay safe. So hopefully you can hear me. I wanted to show you Lanterman's Mill and the falls next to it. As said, one night Abraham Powers was having dinner with John Young, who's the founder of Youngstown, and he learns that Abraham's son Isaac Powers hunts in this land. I guess he was in the hunting black bear or something along those lines. And he's like, hey, would he be willing to survey with this other guy named Phineas Hill? So Isaac and Phineas goes out, surveys the land, and they find the stream, so the story goes. And they follow it, and it leads to these falls. So there's a lot of business opportunities here, and we built the mill and all that fun stuff. You can read about it online, but wanted to share it with you. Pretty cool site. Highly recommended. If you visit Northeast Ohio, visit Mill Creek Park. It's kind of a hidden gem in Youngstown and the area. But yeah, I used to come here as a teenager a lot, and things have changed a little bit, but still beautiful. Thanks for watching.